I made this zucchini cake when I was up at the Milkweed Inn, and it was so delicious, so I brought it home after having written it in just notebook format. I converted it to grams and then set about simplifying the instructions. I read through it and I realize it's really a sift the dries and muffin method situation. The key to keeping the water in the zucchini and not being expressed and causing a wet batter is a really sharp grater. Toasting the nuts early on during your work gives them time to cool. Zesting the citrus and ginger directly into the vegetable keeps and holds on to the essential oil so they don't get lost in the tools or the bowl. There's no gluten in the mix at this point, so you can just keep adding the wets because nothing is going to get changed fundamentally. You can already tell that the color and the flavor is absolutely beautiful. I've had the most humid summer and all of my ingredients are so lumpy, so I can't wait until I work through all of my sugar. By labeling and using deli cups, I am able to group ingredients together, not only in the order that they are used, but in the groupings that go together. All of the wet on one side and all of the dries on the other. My labels are a secondary insurance policy that I can check every time I actually use one or it goes into the bowl. The label comes off and I do not throw those away until the entire process is complete. That way I can check the labels for any mistakes that occur. I always add things in thirds. It doesn't matter that this is an easy mix to mix. I still want to very gently fold properly, add a little bit at a time, and not overwork the gluten. It's at about this point I glanced over at my bundt pan and I realized this was a small quantity. As professionals make mistakes, I knew that this wasn't going to be enough, so I had to make a split-second decision. Because I'd been working on the scalings and I had them written down, I knew the baking soda and baking powder, while activated by moisture, were not yet in the heat, which further activates the baking powder. So I put them in the cooler to slow the action down. I used my scaling numbers to so quickly scale up another batch. It was like lightning. It took longer to toast the nuts. This is great evidence that scaling is so much more efficient than cups and spoons, and I had nothing to wash in the sink afterwards. Quick breads must be baked all the way. A big mistake people make is to pull them out the minute they look like they've risen. You must have patience and allow them to dry out so when you touch them, the indentation does not stay. It pops back up. The cake should be moist but not gummy and underbaked. Covering it in icing helps maintain the moisture and looks very pretty. If you have limited space, are a beginner, have little kids in the kitchen, or want to start a baking program in your cafe or restaurant, lean into quick breads and look at them with fresh eyes and new ideas.